I am now into my last 2 months of this almost 2-year long journey since leaving Singapore. So I left in March 2022 and I am looking forward to coming back. It looks to be the way for now until I guess a new plan unfolds. I just wanted to share a bit about these 2 years because I think it has been a really big leap of faith, of really stepping into the unknown and taking a big risk without understanding why. My mind still can't understand or process any of it, but I think really just going with a gut feel or what my heart senses is the right thing for me to do. I left in March because at that time I didn't take the COVID jab. Everything in Singapore was kind of closing down on those who didn't have the jab. I was considering the Sinovac, but somehow for that 2 weeks that I kept sitting with that question and feeling into an answer, I couldn't get a yes from my body, so I decided that I was not going to take it. Ultimately, that was the push factor for leaving Singapore. When I left, I had no idea how long it was going to be for, whether things were going to change. I made that decision, sold off my gong, rented out my place and left. And 1 week after I got to South Africa, everything in Singapore opened. So I suppose that was really the universe making me so damn uncomfortable that I had no choice but to leave the comfort of home, the comfort of Singapore, the comfort of everything that I knew and grew up to learn as the norm. For someone who has kind of always had a bit of that rebellious streak in her, I never really took the more normal or common route. I mean, even with career-wise, I left my job at Unilever. I was very new back then. I mean, it was my first job after graduation. But I left that to go into nightlife. I was offered a marketing manager role at this small club that was starting. That was actually how I met Bobby and Ritz, who shortly after became my co-founders, and then starting Butter Factory. So that has definitely already kind of been a bit veering off the usual path. Again, in 2019, leaving my job in December to pursue something completely new and different at the ripe old age of maybe 40, 41, can't remember. And a few months after leaving my job, the lockdown happened. I've shared this before, where every plan that I tried to make or action plan that I drew up would just be shut down. I had to keep getting up over and over again and finding my footing. In these 2 years, my biggest takeaway is really questioning safety and pushing myself out of my limits and comfort zone, because in Singapore, everything is really, it runs like clockwork. We are so safe there. I mean, I've always felt safe there. And being in South Africa for a total of 9 months, then traveling to Glastonbury, Egypt, and all these various places, it allowed me to experience life through different lenses and realizing that actually I'm very adaptable. Humans are very adaptable. Things that I thought I couldn't do, I absolutely needed. I started to realize that I don't. And it gave me a lot of space and time to really be with myself and to assess what I can actually step into, what I'm capable of, and also reassessing my worth without using the measurement scale that I have grown up with. So much of everything in today's world, especially in a fast-paced society like Singapore, where everything is measured by the external. These 2 years have really been very much about a deep focus on my internal and learning to let go of how conditioned by society I have been to judge and define success and productivity. Having the time and space to really feel and move through big emotions that a lot of times becomes very easy to brush aside especially when you're busy in the grind of work. If you are in a relationship or constantly around people, it is also easy to distract yourself from really feeling. What my journey has largely been about is that stripping away of all distractions, and I have no choice but to feel everything that kind of have been set aside through the years, that surfaces when I get triggered by stories that have been on loop for many, many years. And to be breaking cycles that has been passed down through generations. Honestly, it's not possible to even do this inner work if you have a full-time job and to really have the space for the emotional processing. I think that has been the toughest, I don't even know if that's a word to use, the toughest part of the journey for me, I suppose, is really feeling and facing it instead of avoiding. Don't get me wrong, even with the universe getting rid of all that distraction, I mean, I still find ways to distract, you know. It's so easy because we always still have our devices. Even though it's no longer alcohol or cigarettes, even if it's not going out with friends or work, you know, Netflix or even just mundane scrolling through the phone is so easy and within reach. Many times, you know, when it's too much and it feels very overwhelming, I do still resort to those distractions, but it does come to a point where I have to meet myself and really feel. There's something that really isn't spoken about much. What we see are courses on different methods of breath work, of trainings, on different wellness and healing modalities. What I don't hear being shared more often is really the simple act of meeting yourself, of really showing up for yourself. To allow yourself to just feel and to make space and time to be with those feelings without feeling rushed, and to hold and love yourself through it. I've noticed how often people tend to apologize when they start tearing up in the cacao ceremonies when I'm facilitating and say in sharing circles. If someone tears up and they cry, they are so quick to apologize for crying. I really wish that soon enough we will be able to realize that there is absolutely no need for apologies, for making space for our feelings. And it's so normal to have them. It's just that we have been so shut down. Nobody has been taught how to feel, to identify and to feel their emotions, or how to even be comfortable with others when they express their emotions. I just think that that is so important. A very big part of healing is really to move into the heart space, because you can study all the different causes and you can go to all the meditation retreats, and for as long as you're not allowing yourself to feel, then I personally believe, from my experience, is that then you're not really releasing that, and it still stays in, it's a very mental kind of space that you are processing from, and mindset hacks can only get you so far. I'm sure there are some people who get through life just simply through mindset hacking, I'm sure there is, but at least in my experience, I just feel that there are limitations with lasting results, because understanding with the mind is one thing, but to really see lasting results, for the change to become permanent, it takes meeting yourself, it takes feeling your way through the big messy emotions, and when you stop running away from yourself and whatever it is that you are distracting yourself from, then that is when external distractions begin to have less and less power. The faster you are able to recognize when you are distracting yourself, and to put the distractions aside and say, okay, I'm ready to see you now. I'm ready to feel now. I was always looking for that method, that magic pill that can cure everything, like fear of public speaking, fear of heights, how to not rely on external validation, imposter syndrome. Unfortunately, I don't believe that there is a magic pill for such things, and I truly believe that mindset hacks have their limitations. In my own experience, is that it's consistent showing up for myself that I've seen lasting changes. I used to have very, very, very intense fear of public speaking, to the extent if I were asked to do any sort of like speaking events, I would either decline, or I think there was once I agreed to it because it was a seated panel, but my heart was beating so fast the whole time through. Once getting on stage to accept something and had to say a few words, and my left leg just started shaking. I always used to have to take a few shots, before being interviewed on camera. I remember also attending like 3-day training for like public speaking, and none of those things worked. How I slowly started to get over this fear of public speaking was through my 12-step program meetings, opening my mouth to share and speak each time, then volunteering to facilitate those meetings forced me to also then have to open my mouth since I'm the host of the meeting. And I did that consistently for 3 years. When I started doing guided meditations, even when it was on Zoom, I would experience the same fear with my heart pounding out of my chest, but still just showing up and doing it anyway. I think for the first year, even when I used to facilitate my cacao ceremonies, I would still feel that same nervousness with speaking that slowly tapered off, both from consistent practice and from starting to become more and more comfortable in my own skin. You know, I used to be someone who could not ever look at others and make eye contact when I'm speaking. It just used to make me so uncomfortable. I was not able to make conversations if I wasn't drinking. It was really because I was never comfortable in my own skin. I was never comfortable with who I was because I think I never knew who I was. But the more I kept meeting myself, showing up for myself, the more all these fears started to fall away. And it became easier to do the things that I was afraid of. This is going against years of education and absolutely what everything I've been told not to do, but packing everything up and leaving for someone who's never even studied abroad, and then navigating life out of a suitcase for 2 years. Simply trusting that I will figure it out. Even at this point now, still not understanding the full picture or how to build my career. Trusting that something is going to land and I will figure it out. And sometimes I don't need a plan. This is the first time in my life of not having a plan and being okay with it. It freaks me out because I feel like, Celeste, shouldn't you be a bit more worried by now? I'm not someone that have a safety net, you know. This is purely on faith. And I have deep-seated worries that still, those thoughts have been so ingrained that they naturally still surface. You need to earn money, you're not young. The money is going to run out very soon if you continue not working. So what can I do for work? How do I earn money? These are real and practical concerns that occasionally will still keep surfacing. Learning to be okay and not comparing my timeline with others. I think that has also been really a tough one, and something that I wouldn't say I've fully mastered. It's still an ongoing process. To be okay with where I am. But on the other hand, I mean, I think really learning to enjoy and be so grateful for what I have, which is the luxury of time, being able to sit here and record something like this. The luxury of time to be able to feel the depths of my emotions and not worry that, oh my gosh, how do I go to work now, or how do I show up for work with puffy eyes? I can just be here with myself and then treat myself to a massage, to a nice meal. Those are the privileges that I enjoy because I took the risk to step away from everything, and to trust. In my experience, it's the daily commitment to self. It's the focus on the internal that has allowed me to make lasting changes. That's how I started to become, layer by layer, more and more comfortable with who I am and loving who I am. And I really wish that for everyone, because I honestly believe that is how we start to let go of all that external noise that keeps us trapped, you know, and leads to a whole host of ease and discomfort.